Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Tall and Taller. It's a slow time of the year, but we got plenty to talk about just because we haven't been on in about 2 weeks. Um, we'll go right into it. I mean, Michigan hockey takes the L in the Frozen Four. This is something I think I wanted to talk about last show. I don't remember though. No, because last show would have been what, last Saturday?
I believe so.
Last show would have been 2 Saturdays ago, I think. Um, So that would have been the day we played in the Frozen Four or the weekend. Um, Losing the Frozen Four that makes Michigan hockey 1-7 in the Frozen Four since 1998. Um, but that's not the only struggle. But since their 1998 national championship, they're 1-7 in the Final Four. You look at Michigan's even just as a university, and I could take this deeper into our pro sports fan base is not doing this, but is finding the way to make it to that championship and win that. Not just make it, but win it because they do make it. This is just a little list of the past few. You have the 2013 basketball team going to the Final Four final, playing a national championship game against I think it was Louisville that season, losing that game. Jump into 2018, the hockey team loses in the Frozen Four for semifinal round. 2018, that basketball team losing national championship. 2019, College World Series final for the baseball team loses after taking a 1-0 lead against Vanderbilt. Um, 2021 college football semifinals, as we all know, 2022 college football semifinals, and then 22-23 Frozen Fours for the hockey teams. It's rough to be a Michigan fan for at least for the major four sports that are really watching this country. Um, Ben, do you think it's a coincidence? Do you think there's something that Michigan's not doing? Do you think, or is it just a coincidence that we decide not to play football or play hockey or play baseball in those times?
I think maybe a little bit, but I think a couple things is one that it's really really hard to win a national championship in a major sport, right? And we've talked about this at various aspects, in real life and on the podcast. I'm sure is that Michigan is a school that will like straddle the gray areas, but they don't drive through those blurred lines, right? And like it or not, and I would debate this with anybody, that's a competitive advantage. Um, you know, as far as football is concerned, Lloyd Carden, the way he left, and then Rich Rod and Brady, I think that everybody underestimated um, how bad the program was, how far down it had fallen, but also, Alabama was on a historical run of whatever it was, 6 7 championships in 20 years. I don't know, and they're still up there, right? Um, and not that we ever made it to get our ass beat in the playoffs when they were there, but um, you know for 15 years, them and a couple other teams were just dominating college football. Um, basketball, a lot of bad luck, right? Trey Burke's block. Um,
Trey
Mitch
Burke's
McGeary.
block to me is just as bad as JT was short because
Oh, I think
both
it's
of them,
worse. I think
both
it's I think it's more
both
egregious.
I don't know. Maybe not. So I want to say this. I think if you were to take that and I asked you that question 3 years ago, I think you say otherwise because we hadn't beaten Ohio State in football then in that long. But
Yeah, if my aunt had a dick, she'd be my uncle too. We're talking about today, right? Not 3 years ago.
well, there
But
goes
I
the
mean
expert
that's a
tag on
fair
this episode, guys.
that's a fair that's a fair question, and it's really hard. I mean, it's easy for me to say no now. I mean maybe, but
No, I
you,
know.
I think I would for sure say that that set the program back further. The JT short, and talking about bad luck, that was a piece of bad luck, right? And if we win, maybe we win a national title that year, right? Because didn't Ohio State win the national title that year? I believe.
No, it was
No,
2014. It was the first
no,
year
okay.
of the playoffs. I think
and
they might have played in it, but
and you know this just the last 2 years have backed up or back up what I'm about to say is that it has, had we won that game and even just made the CFP, right, um that likely would have accelerated our competitiveness. Look at what the last 2 years have done for recruiting and
oh yeah,
momentum and confidence, and you can go right on down the line. So, we've been snake bit. We've been snake bit your whole life, pretty much, right? In all of Detroit sports or all of Michigan sports, but there's
yeah.
a
My life
lot of
kind of sucks when
what
it comes to
ifs.
sports.
There's a lot of what ifs, especially with you know those two calls in particular. But we can go on down the line for quite a while, about stuff that's happened, um,
Yeah, like this.
that
Tell me.
really that that
My bad.
Louisville, that their championship was vacated, makes it 10
It's
times as worse to me.
oh, I know.
Um,
And honestly, just letting you know, I messed up there, and not one person heard a word that we just said while that picture was up because I accidentally muted us both instead of just like making us
and that's
smaller.
okay.
But that was I just want to let you know that's my bad. Um,
So basically, I don't even remember. Basically, what I said, that ref has to feel pretty bad, right? Especially since Louisville's title was vacated. It was kind of the gist of what I said, because that
yeah.
was just it was an egregious call, and bad calls happen, mistakes happen. I don't think, that that he conspired against us or anything. Where on the Ohio State side, I do believe that was a little bit of a home cooking, home field call, whatever. I think if that that game was at Michigan, that JT would have been called short. Um, and I'm okay with the home cooking to a certain level, but um, the reality is that set our football program back a couple years. Um,
Oh, for sure. I mean, we were right there on the cusp of probably
right.
being where, like you
Yeah,
said, where we were at today.
like I said earlier, we win that game, we go to the CFP, and even if we lose, you get to the CFP, and that gets the recruits' attentions that maybe weren't considering your school or that were considering your school to it generates a lot of excitement. It just does. So, um, been really long-winded here, but that's just I do think it's bad luck and bad timing. We run into some juggernauts. We run into some teams that were hot. On the flip side, basketball, I can't uh, name the years off the top of my head right now, but there was a couple times where we made pretty deep runs where probably nobody expected it too. You know what I mean? Where we got hot at the right time, and that happened to us. Was it Villanova that just come in and smoked us?
Oh yeah,
Um,
that Villanova team was by far one of the best tournament teams to ever play in a tournament.
yeah,
I mean, they ran through the field. They kind of did what UConn did this year,
I
but
can't
in
think of his name, but
2018.
that ginger man, he
Oh,
could have
Neil,
just
you mean the one that decided to play basketball that night and didn't play all season and
right.
came in and
He
dropped
could have
like
stood at
35
three
on us?
quarters court and just looped it behind his head. I think it would have went in. He
Man,
just
dude, that
couldn't.
was
He was on one that night. He just couldn't miss.
all right. I'm going off on a tangent here. Explain to me this. Why the hell is it every time we play somebody, it seems like they're players that either don't play at all like don't usually play a lot, or like in the game because somebody's hurt, or somebody who's good but decides that he's going to go off and have a career night against us. And I swear it's always against us. I mean, I can go back and I can name 3 or 4 people just off 3 or 4 games recently over the top of my head. I mean, you have that game. You can go off and look at Luke Hancock against Michigan in the 2013 national championship game after Spike Albrecht. We all thought, all right, we're good. We got a big lead. Luke Hancock brought him right back into it. Same spot. I mean, Spike did the kind of same thing there. You go back, look at 2000. When was the last time we made tournament? When we made that run where you lost UCLA, it would have been 2021.
21, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was right after COVID. 2021. We played LSU. LSU's player went absolutely off on us, couldn't miss, and the dude from UCLA who had a great tournament that year went off. Same thing. The dude from Central Michigan this year went off. Like I said, I don't remember any of these guys' names other than Luke Hancock. I mean, it seems like, and go and look at the kid from Quinnipiac in hockey this year.
Yeah.
Scored 2 goals. It's like
And,
scored 2 goals and I had a career game,
like,
and I was like,
I'm not a big hockey guy, right? When the Wings are, I pay attention to them at all times, but when they're in the playoffs, very rarely do I watch a full season game unless they're in the playoffs, and it's been 7-8 years since they've been in the playoffs. But hockey is one of those games where one guy can take over, and NHL wise, you see the lower seeds win a champion of Stanley Cup a lot more often than the higher seeds do. Hockey, you get any hot player, but especially a hot goalie, and they can carry you to a title pretty easy. And for sure, I think that was wrong place, wrong time, but they went on to win it all, right? So it's hard to. It's hard to classify it, I guess, as anything other than wrong team, wrong time. A little bit of bad luck, I guess you could call it. But, when you get especially a basketball or a more particular hockey player, you just got to kind of tip your cap. The baseball thing, college baseball, I'd love to see them win it, but I never really thought it was going to happen. It's hard to compete with the teams down south because, that's where that's why Bakich left, right, to go to Clemson. These guys can play year round, so they get the better athletes.
Bakich left also because I feel like Ward Manuel fucked that up, but Bakich was also an alumni of.
Correct.
Oh, sorry. I can't say alumni because my wife gets on me about that because it's alumni. But how do you say it? I'm sorry. I don't mean to go off topic.
Alumni.
Okay. Do you say alumni or do you say alumni?
Alumni.
All right. I'll have to have my wife listen to it, see if I figure out how you say it because to me they sound the exact same. She loses shit with the way I say it, and I'm like,
say it again.
Yeah, I get it. Alumni.
Yeah, you're saying alumni.
I know. It's literally just how I've always said it. And I was like, I wanted to see if you said it the same way to see if it was maybe a northern thing because I don't know.
Right.
Anyways, back to what we were talking about. I think it was about Bakich. Bakich left because he had Clemson ties already. Clemson's coach was done. I figured it was happening already halfway through that last season.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a known fact that Clemson's coach was leaving. But still, I also think Ward Manuel could have been like, hey, dude, here's some fucking money. How about you stay? Hey, you took us to a CWS final, had a really good shot to win it. Then the next year, or not next year, I guess, last year, made a decent run. Probably should have won because Louisville Michigan got fucking goddamn bad break in the goddamn playoff. That motherfucker was out at second. But anyways. All right. Let's see how this show's going to go.
So I think if, to kind of wrap this up, because we've been going on this for 15 minutes now, is that I think if you sat down, and this is really any game, any sport, and dissected the game, you could come away with 10, 20, 30 mistakes that was the difference. But it just seems like if there's going to be a bad call at a bad time that's going to hurt a team, that
It's us.
it doesn't go our way. I know that there has been some. I can't think of them off the top of my head right now, but I could list 10 that went against us. A lot of bad juju. The flip side of that is to bouncing back to baseball is and him leaving, and I have no doubt that Ward probably gaffed that up, but I get it. Clemson alum, right? And has some success. The Big Ten in general and Michigan as well is not a baseball school. Football, basketball, softball, and probably even gymnastics and swimming. I bet you are ahead of women's gymnastics are ahead of baseball as far as the priority list goes. The funding and recruiting and all that stuff. And I think that's another big reason why I went. Down south.
I'll tell you right now, these motherfuckers down here fucking take goddamn baseball almost as much as they take fucking football.
Right. Then that's what I was just getting ready to say. In most schools, I would bet baseball's number 2 and no lower than 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of schools down there, and there's a certain amount of schools that baseball's probably number 1.
Mississippi State.
Where they don't have a traditionally powerhouse football school.
Well, Ole Miss, that's how Ole Miss, in my opinion, that's how Ole Miss and Mississippi State are.
Yeah. And until Clemson when it started their run 10 years ago, they were, in my mind, they were a baseball school.
Yeah, I mean, same thing now. South Carolina's good. I've always known South Carolina to be a baseball school. And then that's all Vanderbilt is. Vanderbilt's a straight up baseball producing monster machine. But I don't know. Hopefully we can end the struggles. I don't know about Detroit sports, but hopefully Michigan sports can end our struggles here in the fall. Like maybe, I guess it would be technically in January. Hopefully, I would like that. Maybe, but we'll see. Yeah, it kind of sucks when we get this close and every time it doesn't go our way. Kind of just expect it and take it before the game starts, aka the same way me and you were texting the whole entire college football playoffs when we were playing TCU.
Yeah.
How many times you told me you were turning the game off, but I knew you weren't. But yeah, it just sucks. But all right, I guess a lot of this shit's kind of depressing today. But I guess we'll move on to Michigan basketball. I mean, it's stuff that's
real quick, right before we jump, is that we just spent damn near 20 minutes talking about that, and we didn't even talk about how snake bit our professional sports teams are. That would be.
Oh yeah,
we could make a 5 podcast series out of that. But yeah, on to Michigan basketball and the clusterfuck that's become.
Perks of being a Michigan fan. Yeah, I mean,
the reality is in the last 5 to 10 years, we've had it really good. There's probably every school in the country, with the exception of 4 or 5, would immediately, without even thinking about it, trade us positions as far as the success of our overall athletic teams have been, right? We have been at or near the top in every major sport and a lot of the so-called second tier ones, but we just haven't been able to close that deal. And we're trying to move on to this, but another bad luck thing is Blake Corum getting
Yeah.
injured. You know, and I honestly, I don't know if he would have made a difference for us because we come out and didn't take them as seriously as I think as we should have. But that's a whole nother story. Okay, I'm done.
All right.
Till
I
something
was
else
sorry.
pops in my head.
I was on Twitter looking at something. Real. All right. Michigan basketball, like you said, it's a mess right now. Kobe Buffkin, Jet Howard. So both declared for the draft. Both I think are projected number one or not number one, first round picks. Well, I guess we'll start with them. I mean, I think it was seen that both of them are probably going to leave about halfway through the season. Kobe started hitting his stride, found his game more, and I mean, you just seen that he's destined. He was destined to play at the next level. I mean, I was hoping Jet, same thing. Knew he was going. Figured he was probably done. Not saying it.
And you know
I think we
the
talked.
flip side of you know all the talk that's been out there, and you know us included, about him getting his you know what perceived favoritism, right, is that if his dad wasn't the coach, he would have never come here. And you know I would argue that probably would have left us off better than it did if he did. But you know I also understand, you know, for example, is if I was a college football coach at a major university like that, and you were coming out of high school, you're goddamn right you're coming to play for me for at least a year. Over my dead body, are you not going to come play for me in college for at least a year?
I
I
don't know. You're
mean,
kind of a dick, so.
yeah, right. Yeah, you think I was a dick? Wait till you told me no and said I'm going. And the only way that I see that any different is if like if coming right out of high school, you were, you know, a guaranteed top 3, top 5 pick, and then I'd be like, all right, go. You got to go at that point, right? But you know, there's so many layers to a lot of our issues.
Yeah, I mean, so before I get into mine, did Kobe um did Kobe did he sign with an agent? I don't remember. I don't
I don't recall
or did
seeing
he is
anything.
he just testing the waters like
I
how Hunter
believe he's.
Dickinson did last year?
Well,
'Cause
I haven't read anything that says he's testing the waters, but
like
you
I'm
know,
just trying. I can't remember if I read. I think I read he signed with an agent.
he may have.
But I don't.
And Lance, I think we
Oh yeah,
got
no,
our
he's
new bow. I think, you know, it took. I'm sorry to jump off here. We got a comment from a listener
good.
down in Texas, I believe, is where Lance is at. Last I knew, but you know, it took him longer to get there than everybody thought and everybody wanted. But you know, to me, from scheme to personality, um, Harbaugh's Bo 2.0.
Yep. So far, can't win a national championship either.
Well, in fairness, back
I know.
then,
I'm messing around.
you know, the Big Ten championship was more important than a national
The
championship.
Rose Bowl was I know. Yeah. So no, he forgoed. He gave up his eligibility. Let's just say that. So yeah, he's done. He's gone. So with that, I'll go off on my topic about Kobe. Start the season. Yeah, I would have told you, hell no, he's not going anywhere. The dude is not ready to play pro football or basketball. Sorry. Jet right away came out and he showed that what he needed to do. He could do he could do it, but then a lot of times he would hurt us trying to do it too much. I guess we talked about that before. I don't want to get too far down that road. But I mean, good for them. Like I said, they'll make their money, and I think that's kind of where they're at. Get your money, have fun. I think I'll be honest. I think Kobe has a better shot at being better than Jet. Again, two different positions doesn't justify. I think Jet's going to be a good NBA player, but I think Kobe will be a starter someday in the end. And honestly, I think Kobe will be a starter someday in the NBA. Probably not right
So,
away, but
so you think that Kobe's going to end up being a better professional player than Jet?
yes. Thank you for making that shorter. I mean, I think he'll play longer, and I think he'll.
Oh, okay, Lance. Hi in New Mexico, buddy. Hope you're doing good.
Um, but yes, that's that. Long story short, yes, that's what I was trying to say there. I just couldn't think of the words. And now the other departing, well, maybe departing. Who knows here what's going on? Hunter Dickinson announced. I think pretty much it was only a few days after Jet announced that he was going to be. Hold up, real quick. It's just a coincidence, though, that Kobe Bufkin and Jet Howard both sat out in the NIT. Well, Jet sat out both games. Kobe sat out the last game. Just
Correct.
coincidence, as we said multiple times, and I already knew about it. Um, which me and you think talked about it and said, "Oh, this is exactly why they're sitting out is because they're going pro." Which cool,
Right.
whatever. NIT, oh well. But both of them come out and said Matt and magically had ankle injuries. Both of them
Right.
magically both games they sat out. But that's one thing I thought about earlier, and I just thought it was funny. But on the other possible departure from the university basketball team, which I think was kind of a shock to a lot of us. I mean, it was a surprise to me. I didn't really think. I figured if it's the way that he could depart, I guess, was more of a shock. And that's Hunter Dickinson entering the transfer portal. Um, I mean, there's been a lot of rumors on why he did it, whether it was NIL related, which we all know Michigan has some NIL problems compared to a lot of schools. There's rumors that he's doing it because he says that, and this is probably true in today's day and age, the he's not he's not the type of player that's going to have success in the NBA. He's going to have success to go probably play overseas um, because the NBA just doesn't utilize the center position like the way he is a center is. The center in the NBA is an athletic person, tall, athletic, can shoot from the outside, and I think Hunter was recognizing that, and I kind of think this is played into what he's doing is that he wants to win, and I think he sees Kobe and Jet leaving um, as, oh no, I'm about to be back from square one next season with new guys in the starting lineup. Um, I don't see this going well again in my senior year. I'm gonna join. I'm gonna get out of here and go try to find somewhere where I can win now, maybe get a championship now, and then go start go do whatever he wants to do. He doesn't have to go play basketball. I mean, he's definitely I think gonna be. He'll probably get drafted in the NBA, but I personally, and I think that makes the most sense to me is that the way the type of center he is the old school center, beat bang, and
Little
now
bit
just
of
the
a
way the
plotter,
NBA is.
right? The only caveat to that, 'cause I agree with it for the most part, is that his outside shooting come a long way this year, and
Yeah, it did.
if he can continue to do that, um, I think that he could probably have some success. But I also think that he may be a little bit too slow and therefore be a defensive
That's where I was about to
liability in
go.
the
The
NBA.
defensive liability was also going to be where I was going to go after you said the 3 point getting better. Is
Yeah,
that when you've seen him get on, say even a three, um, if you end up switching onto a 3 or a 4, it is he always was getting beat. They always took advantage of it. Um, I mean, it's just the way it goes. The center. It just happens. If you're too slow, you're too slow. I mean, I wish basketball still used the center as a center was used back then. Even like the way that he plays it,
Yep.
it was the same way I played it. The defender. I mean, he was a great defender, good defender, rebounder, and now it's everyone's got to be athletic, fast, quick, um, in the NBA. But off the wants to win part with Hunter is the rumors that I was hearing off of that was that that there is the possibility of Hunter coming back to Michigan if he feels that the team, if Juwan builds a team that he feels can win and has a chance to win. And I think that starting out, getting Caleb Love from North Carolina was a big start and a big um, step at that as making a
Absolutely.
team that can succeed. I mean, what do you think is needed? I mean, I'll ask you this: what do you think is needed? I mean, you can go off what we were just talked about, but what do you think is needed to see the success of this team, Michigan basketball, that we've seen during the John Beeline eras to the early years of Juwan, the first 2-3 seasons?
So number one, we need a point guard, right? Number
Which I
two, I
which I feel
think
like
that
we
we
have
need to make, and maybe we do. Let,
yeah,
let me amend that. We need a proven point guard, right?
yeah.
Um, and number two, I think more emphasis, or maybe even a new scheme is needed defensively. Um, something I thought about earlier today, where I was thinking about, things we were going to discuss was, I wonder if, I wondered if, and I don't think so, but if there was some type of rift between him and Phil Martelli, and that affected the scheme. But if there was, I think that he would be gone by now. Um,
I don't know because I mean,
or if there's a lot of people that, I don't know, conspiracy theorists, I guess would be a little strong, but there's a lot of people that think that Juwan's the figurehead, and Martelli's the coach, and that's the problem. And um, I don't see that happening for a lot of reasons, but who knows? But back to Hunter, there was something that I believe Sam Webb quoted out, somebody that was reliable and trustworthy, right after Hunter announced that he had told them that he was left with no choice. He had to enter the portal.
it was Ant right.
Well, oh, yep, it wasn't right.
Yeah.
And so, is that an NIL thing? Is that he's unhappy with the way the team is going? Is he unhappy with the coach, or maybe one of the maybe him and Kobe didn't get along, and that's translated onto the court. And then when Kobe left, maybe he's reconsidering it. Um, but what you were saying before I start talking kind of makes a lot of sense about the team and the setup, and would certainly explain why he hasn't gone, because that, I don't know what's their 130 something Division One teams. If there's 120, 115 would take him in a minute. Um, in some capacities. So my gut feeling on this is there's some type of discourse there, and who knows what. And there's obviously a disconnect. The season proved that the whole father son disconnect, with the Howards makes the most sense to me. But with we'll probably never know. But him not going by now tells me that he really doesn't want to go. You look at his social media; it's still Michigan pictures, and he hasn't posted since he announced, that I've seen. But if he wanted to be gone right now, he could have a home already, right? And there's been a lot of talk about him going to Maryland, which is where he's from. And I think if that's really what he wanted to do, he would be gone. So it'll play out. I do think that he's going to be back. I don't think that you stick around this long after you announce it, unless you're seriously considering it. But I don't think it bodes well, all of this for the health of our program. And up until a podcast or two ago, I was adamant that Juwan's seat should not even be considered hot unless he has another shitty season this year. But I think his seat is just a couple degrees under blistering hot going into this next season. Yeah, and he's got to figure something out. And I think that they've been really aggressive early on in the off season.
Oh yeah, they've been all over the transfer portal already.
And so I think that kind of lends credit to that theory, which is all it is, right? We're not insiders by any means, but
and I feel like my main thing with that is like I've been, it works sometimes, but then again, it's fucking has killed us. I worked with Mike Smith. Mike Smith came in and was a great point guard for us. And then it did not work with whatever our other point guard was after that. I don't even remember his name right now. Devontae Jones, that's who it was.
Yep.
And with Devontae Jones going, it kills you sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. Hopefully, I mean, Joey Baker kind of killed us. Joey Baker's supposed to come in and hopefully be like the Duncan Robinson of college basketball, like the new Duncan Robinson, hopefully. And I mean, it just depends on how they play out. Like I'm a little worried about Caleb Love. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get from him. Whether you're going to get the Caleb Love that played this year or the Caleb Love that played 2 years ago.
Right.
It just depends on how he looks. Because this year, North Carolina was in the same position as we were this year.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they had as far
as they started
as
the number one overall team to start the year. They were number one overall to start the year, and they don't even make. They would have made the NIT, but they didn't accept the NIT. They didn't play any postseason tournament, which is good for them. I wish Michigan would have did the same thing, but
yeah, because just to kind of interject for a minute is that there's no way that Juwan didn't know that for sure Kobe, or Jet was leaving, and he probably had a good idea that Kobe was leaving, and he probably had a good idea that those guys didn't want to play. And I'm not a big fan of the NIT to begin with. I would have had no problem if they would have
declined that invitation. We did it in 2015 when Beeline turned it down.
Yeah,
that's not where we belong, and that's where the program was at. When that was the program that Beeline had built, was we don't belong in the NIT at that time. We belong in the tournament, and if we don't make the tournament, we ain't playing.
Right.
Fuck it, man. Fire Juwan, bring back John Beeline. Come on. Bring it home, John B. Bring it home.
Back. I'd be all about it.
Why? Why? What's he doing? Coach? What? He's a Pistons analysis, and what doesn't he teach a school at the university still? Teach a class at the university still?
I believe he does, but he's got a job making as much, probably damn near as close. The Cavaliers are still paying him for one, and two, the Pistons are probably paying him a fairly decent amount to work what basically amounts to a 9 to 5. And he's like 97. He's 97 years old. He's not coming back.
He's like 71.
He's not coming back.
That's still young. Coach K was like 79.
You could offer John Beeline 5 years and $100 million, and he wouldn't come back.
Yeah, he's still got 5 years.
Coach K's 76. He was 75 when he retired.
Yeah, exactly. And Beeline's 70.
Actually, because
Beeline's 70. So there, you got 3 years to come back and win an Natty. Come on home.
Not happening. He had enough of the college game. That's a good part why he got out.
It don't matter
I
what.
mean, I'd love to see it, but I just don't see it. Yeah, he just turned 70. He's not coming back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. BS. Quick note: do you know there's like 1,400 players in the transfer portal as of like 4 days ago?
Yeah,
And
it's
how many
nuts.
spots? There's not that many spots in Division One. Like the fact that there's that many people in the transfer. I know the football transfer portal is way bigger. It's a way bigger sport, more spots on each team. But the amount of people in the transfer portal compared to the amount of spots, and on like Division One schools at least, it got to be careful what you're doing, guys. If you got a spot, you might want to before you. I mean, a lot like you said, Dickinson will obviously find a spot. Caleb will find a spot. Good players will find their spot, but you just got college kids out there need to think. I think before they make decisions because of the amount of you could end up in a worse spot just to play sports.
Right,
But
absolutely.
I just read that and I was like, well, holy
I mean,
shit.
you're leaving your teammates and your friends, and I mean, it's a lot, right? And it obviously works for some people, but you know, we've talked about this quite a bit. I feel like, but that is, you know, it's a reflection on society, and you know, kid plays 10 minutes a game and he think he deserves 15. I'm out of here. Guy comes late to practice and he's got to run 100 suicides. He's like, fuck you, I'll just hit the transfer portal. You know, it's an athletic problem, but it's also a problem in society as well. You know, I feel like, and you know, it is the pussification of American society, and that just enhances it and enables it, in my opinion. So, but it is what it is. Everybody's dealing with it. It's not like it's just a Michigan thing. You know, it's a Michigan problem. But
you know, it's not. But
yeah, you know, there's a lot
college.
there. You know,
College
1,400 kids.
basketball.
I think 2 years ago there was like at most there were at one time the highest number was just either just under or just over 200. Right. So
Yeah. There's opportunity, but sometimes there's not.
You know, it's here to stay. Hopefully, they make some modifications to it. I think a kid should only get one free one. Then I think there should be some criteria, and I don't think that it needs to be nearly as stringent as it used to be. But I also think that it's too easy right now to just say,
Up
yeah,
and go.
had a bad day, I'm out of here. Fuck him.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree. Hopefully, Joanne can get that figured out because, like you said, if not, he's on the hot seat.
yeah, for sure.
All right, move on to a little bit of this week's tops of the Jim Harbaugh era. Just because it is a light, we ain't gonna do top 5 this week. We're gonna do top 3 just because there isn't as many that you can think of, but we've had over the years. We're gonna do the
Yeah, I
top
don't.
3.
I'm not sure that we've had 5 true ones.
No, not people who've actually played all year, like have actually had like this power and things like that. We're the top 3 fullbacks under Jim Harbaugh. We'll start at 3, go down. Who you got at number 3?
Henry Pogge.
Okay, yeah. He's from like what played last year, this year, kind of.
Yeah.
I got Sione Homa, kind of Harbaugh's first fullback where we've seen him bring back the fullback era. The dude, big Hawaiian dude with the long foamy hair. I think he was number 39. He was kind of like that first fullback that Michigan had seen back in the system since Carr, because God knows Hoke and Rich Rod mess that all up. At number 2, I got Clit Hill. I mean, dude was just a rumbling, tumbling, fumbling, not fumbling usually. Um, there's a big old dude playing fullback.
Big old
Dude
dude.
was fucking massive. And Clit Hill was probably a top, for me, was definitely a top 10, 15 player I enjoyed watching under Michigan, like being a Michigan fan, like recently, just because get on that 2 yard line, you know who's getting the football.
Right.
But I'm who do you got it to? This is what I want.
I got Ben Mason at 2.
I got an argument for you for number 1. That's where I got Bench Mason. It's Bench Mason. Goddamn psychopath he is. That's why I got a number 1. I mean, I'm assuming you have Hill at 1 then.
I do, and I think those guys were so close and so similar that
Look at
I have
stats,
no problem with you picking him over
no, and
Hill.
and I went.
I've been having that debate in my mind which way I wanted to go since we logged on.
And I had debate, but I think looking back, I mean, Mason had just the better stats overall. I mean, what Hill only played 2 years?
I think so.
I think Mason played 2 or 3 too, but like they're both very productive fullbacks, and I mean, there's not really much to argue over fullbacks. None of their production is high. I mean, I think Mason had 13 touchdowns in a season 1 year. But I mean, when you're getting the ball on the 1 yard line every time and just being a bowling ball or a wrecking ball, running behind a fullback or running behind your lineman and just trying to throw your body through the line, it's not hard to score 11 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Especially being as big as both
funny
of them are.
Thing, right? And I'm not even really hating on this, but I couldn't think of Homa's last name, right? And so doing a Google search, and there's not much there, but I stumbled upon this list of top 125 football players, 1 through 125, at while Jim Harbaugh's been at Michigan, and it was written in August of 2020, so it's not counting anybody the last 2 seasons, right? And I go through this, and like I couldn't disagree with this list anymore. There's guys like in the 60, 70, 80 range that I think on their top 10. And you're gonna love this, but do you know this motherfucker, Michael Spath of Wolverine Digest on Fan Nation, has motherfucking Karan Higdon as his number 8 best player.
Hey, motherfucker! I tell you, he is a top. I mean, like you said, it's from 2020, so Corum and Edwards are on there. But fucking Karan Higdon, since Harbaugh is definitely take out at that time, was a top fucking 10 player in the Harbaugh era.
No.
Yeah.
He wasn't top 25. He probably wasn't even top 50.
Oh, fuck.
So this
you're high as fuck. What are you? Did you take the gummy before the show again?
I didn't. So just tell me this, right? Just off the top of your head, 10 seconds or less. Who is the number 1 player of Jim Harbaugh from the time he started to 2020?
Either Rudock or Donovan Peoples-Jones.
He's got Jordan Lewis.
Oh, okay. I mean,
I think Jordan Lewis is top 5 for sure, top 10, but I don't think he's number 1.
I'm just gonna rattle off. Let's see. Let me know his top 5. That's what I want to know.
I'm gonna do the top 10.
That's fine.
Jordan Lewis, Devin Bush. This is in order: Maurice Hurst, David Long, Chase Winovich, Cesar Ruiz, Amara Darboh, Karan Higdon, Jabril Peppers, Jake Butt. Right.
How you got 5 defensive players in the top 5?
Right. And this guy, this must be a clickbait type article. I don't know, but
I can argue. I think I heard like the first 2 I definitely don't think Maurice Hurst is a top five, definitely not top three player under Harbaugh. He was a great
No,
player, but
he's
I know.
got
I personally don't think he's a top 10. There's too
he's
many
got
offensive
John
players.
Runyon Jr. at 17. I mean, he's a legacy player, but he wasn't all that.
Oh, my camera's super wide. Oops, sorry. Watching the NASCAR race. Didn't realize my camera caught that. Just flipped off the TV. This dude's gonna make me mad at this point. Except the Cron Higdon thinks that's definitely true. 100% true.
Right.
If anything, he's better than 6 of the other 7 people on the fucking thing.
Okay,
at that time frame.
So where would you put Aiden Hutchinson in that mix?
Now? Oh, definitely top 1 or 2.
So Aiden's on the list and he's at 20.
Well, that's because what? Aiden wasn't even playing. When was it written?
20. Aiden's senior year, before the start of his senior year.
Would it? Oh yeah, because I guess the first season after COVID, we won the Big Ten. Yeah. Because
he broke his leg that year, right? And he only played half a season or whatever. Maybe it's 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, he wasn't. And anyways, we already had the.
But he was already on the watch list. He was, we knew, hey, watch out for this guy, and then he got hurt, which happens. But whatever, the list is just a joke. But I knew that it would bring a smile to your face when some bozo who's a crack.
If you know, hell no. If you ask, I won't go top 10, but if you ask majority of Michigan fans if Cron Higdon belongs in the top 25 players under Jim Harbaugh, over 75% of them would say yes.
No.
True fans. And that
maybe 50%.
No.
I think that you could make an argument for him to be in the top 25 as long as it was like 23, 24, 25.
I think I could get it with top 15, but
I don't think he belongs in the top 50. He's now the top 15 running back since Harbaugh's been at Michigan. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Whatever. It's all right. It's all right. We all make mistakes. You sound like a fucking Sparty right now.
Okay.
Yeah, majority of that list is very bad, except that. I got a few things left. I'll give a quick shout out real quick, just because I kind of feel like if I don't. Prayers up to Brian Hartline. He was in an accident today. He's hospitalized. It seems like he's all right. And apparently he tweeted and said he fucking wrecked his side-by-side or something like that. You would know a lot about that, wouldn't you?
I would.
But yeah, I just want to shoot out a quick.
No, I actually wouldn't, because I've never wrecked a side-by-side. But I was in the one that was in a wreck.
Yeah, I guess you didn't wreck it, but it sounds like he's all right. But just wanted to give a quick shout out, even though he's from that evil team down there in Ohio. And no, I won't go there. We'll save that for another day with him. And then my other little notes I got right now. If the Tigers play tonight, Tigers look to make it 4 straight as they look for a sweep against the Giants. Let's see if they've started yet. I do not think so. So, oh well. No, they have not still started yet. They're probably going to end up getting suspended. Is it raining there?
Not at the moment. Let me look at the pond.
I was just seeing if it was raining there, because you know if it's raining where y'all are, it probably stop. let me see. Where was I going to go with this after this? Last night. What's today's date?
16.
Okay, well, never mind. I'm not going to go there. And then Blake Fraser commits to Michigan today, the offensive lineman. 4-star, I think
Right,
he
big
was.
big O-line stud.
Yeah. Hopefully, it'd be like the next Jake Long, Taylor Lewan story to come through Michigan.
Yeah,
It'd be something
absolutely.
nice to have again.
That was, I don't generally, even though that's our bread and butter, right? And really at this point, if you play offensive line or defensive line and you don't at least seriously consider Michigan, you're nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Because Jim Harbaugh, even through the lean years, has been massively successful at those positions. And I get that, either Harbaugh or the university isn't a good fit. You still hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You just froze. Your
Okay, yeah,
service is
my
bad.
whole computer just went black, so I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
your connection keeps popping up and down.
Okay, so anyways, he yeah, I get the whole fit thing, right? Or maybe it's too far from home, or whatever. There's a million legitimate reasons you would go to a school over Michigan, but man, like I said, you have to seriously consider it, because if you even if you don't have pro aspirations, which most of those guys do, not all of them, um, you know, they're at the very least they're very competitive and want to grow and want to be great. Um, so and we're seeing those results, right? That's where we're getting, our highest rated recruits for the most part is the D line and the O line, and yeah, we're getting some running backs, and yeah, we're getting JJ 5-star, right? So we're getting them other places, but the success that we've had, and we've won best O line in the country the last 2 years. That in itself is an attention grabber. So welcome aboard, young man. And like I said, I hope you're Jake Long, Taylor Lewan, right on down the line.
Oh yeah, but yeah, guys, I think that's it for today's show. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, whatever. I have this stuff up on Spotify, YouTube, all that stuff tonight. But as always, go blue, and we'll see y'all next weekend.
Yes, sir. Hail.